Hello, everyone, and welcome to the weekly show, the 40k weekly show here on SkaredCast. I'm Skari, your grateful host, and we're back. It is 2025, and it is a new year, and it is time to get the party started. I had a couple of weeks off. I'm rested, I'm relaxed, I'm ready to rock and roll. LVO is happening, Las Vegas Open, the 40k Champs is happening in not this weekend, but next weekend. I'm very excited. I will be there. I'm registered. I've got a plane ticket. I'm ready to rock and roll. And I'm really, really excited about making it down. I can't wait to see all of you folks out there that are going to be there. After this stream, I'm going to be driving 4.5 hours all the way to Ottawa to the Red Dragon. And I'm going to be doing the Red Dragon GT, a couple of extra reps of practice, basically before list submission for LVO. So that's pretty much going to be like the main meat and potatoes of my weekend. I'm super pumped. I'm super excited. And this is a show I normally do exclusively for Patreons. But every once in a while, like the first show of the year, I do it and I open the vaults for all of you to enjoy the show. So if you like the show, make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment, hang around because I'm always doing lots of cool content for all of you folks out there in the community. And let's dive in. There's lots of stuff to go on. Now, this show is divided into two parts. First, we have like an FAQ or a Q&A where patrons get to ask questions and I answer them. We discuss. You can be in chat. You can let me know if you have any questions, super chat stuff, that sort of thing. And then we go into the list crunch segment where patrons submit army lists and I read them and I give you my thoughts. And hopefully it kind of makes the cogs a turn, when you're developing a list concept or something like that. But thanks for tuning in today. Thanks for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. It's so exciting. Just so everybody knows, my birthday is in 4 days. That's right. My birthday is Tuesday of next week, the 14th. And I'm going to be 37, I think. Yeah, something like that. 38, 37, 38. Yeah, 38. Maybe 38. Oh my goodness. Crazy. Crazy, crazy. Hello, Nurgle Matthew. Hello, Zinth. Hello, Ryan. Happy pre-birthday. Thank you very much. I did want to take a quick moment to give a shout out to everybody who's living in California right now with the crazy fires. If you need anything, let me know. There's a lot of hobbyists and gamers in that region, so hopefully you're being safe. And the devastation out there is crazy. Just want to say that my heartfelt thoughts is going to all of you, and there are many ways that if anybody wants to help out, there's relief efforts and stuff like that as well. And shout out to all the first responders that are fighting the fires out there. Fire is no joke. Hello, Duff. What's going on? Brent, what's going on as well? Thanks for coming to hang out today. So let's dive into some Warhammer stuff. Okay. Little Toy Soldiers. By the way, I have been working on some Battlefleet Gothic still. The first Battlefleet Gothic game that Luca and I played on Mini Wargaming went out, and I'm building a little space station. There's like a kit-bashed space station for my pirates, which is really exciting. Hello, Haji. What's going on? Hello. Imperial Vox Pack worked. It's like it's like the whole crew. I like it. Everybody's hanging out today, which is exciting. What other hobby stuff have I been working on? I've been I got I got James from the Mini Wargaming Forge to print me these little things. I don't know if you could see them, but they're like little tiny Razorwing jet fighters, Void Raven bombers, because I even need to have those as I need to have those as for that, and the assault boats as well. Yeah, little assault craft. So I'm really excited to paint those up for playing some Battlefleet Gothic, little ordnance fighter craft and stuff. So I wanted to play Battlefleet Gothic so bad when I was 12. First walked into a GW store. I need to get some prints and try it. Battlefleet Gothic is one of those games that's surprisingly staying alive because of prints and being able to create your own ships and stuff. It's really, really cool. And I really, really like that as well. People in Georgia act like they've never seen snow. Hey, Daniel, what's going on? It wouldn't be a Skari list without Void Ravens. Exactly. That's the spirit. Drukhari ships are so cool. Don't think there's a Battlefleet Gothic scene in town. I'd like to get one going. Yeah, Battlefleet Gothic is it's a pretty straightforward game once you get the hang of it. You know, it takes a little bit of time to like learn, but once you learn it, if you want a good resource for Battlefield Gothic stuff, Turbidius on YouTube is really good, and he also has like an Instagram, and they do a lot of Battlefield Gothic content, keeping it alive, right? Uh, Battlefield returning would be a dream. I know, it'd be really, really cool. So we're actually going to be doing a little campaign at Mini Wargaming just between us, like nothing. I don't think we're going to film it. Although the battle report we filmed is doing really well, which means we might do more because folks seem to like want to watch an old school like game like Battlefield Gothic, which isn't a bad thing. I would love to, but we've got Josh, James, Luca, and myself, and so James is going to play Orcs. Josh is playing Imperial Fist, Space Marines. Luca wants to play Necrons and like an Imperial fleet. So I'm going to play Drukhari, like Dark Eldar, and I'm going to have a Chaos fleet. And then we're basically going to be bounced back and forth. We'll have a little campaign map, and we'll play, and we'll just like shoot the shit with that and stuff. Which is why I had to make a pirate base, because it's part of like my roster. It's like a pirate base, and then people in the campaign try and find the pirate base, and then try and go and attack it and murder the pirate base. So that the pirates stop attacking the system. I hope the Drukhari Codex embraced the Nth. You mean the Corsairs? Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, we'll see what happens with the Corsairs. Okay, let's dive into the Q&A, and then we got tons of lists that we have to go through today. Of course, I'll be checking the chat. That's why I started an hour early, because I need to make sure that we can get through this. It is a long episode. I was gone for 2 weeks, and there's like a lot of stuff we want to go through. Yeah. So Owl Duke asks, "Hey Scary, Happy New Year! Happy New Year, Owl Duke. With the Eldari Codex on the way, and the rumor that it'll have specific Drukhari data sheets for the Ynnari detachment, what are your hopes and expectations? What units will be included? And do you think it'll have a positive impact on the Drukhari index? I, for the one, very much hope there will be less pressure on our units." So, if that is true, I'm not sure what they would put in. Like, I don't know. It would be a shame if, like, they didn't put like a lot of stuff in there. But at the same time, they could like curb it and be like, we only want these units to be used in Ynnari, right? Like historically, like there were a couple of units that you couldn't use in Ynnari, but then with the new Ynnari rules, you could. It's like, why can I use these units if they don't historically want to be with Ynnari or whatever? But I can say that I think it'll have a very big positive impact on the Drukhari book. Like, we've seen Scourge go up, Ravagers go up, like, pretty much most of the point increases that we have, other than the Void Raven Bombers. I will take full responsibility for that one. But let's just say that it would be nice to have like Scourge not go up randomly 50 times because people keep on putting them in Ynnari, and then they just show up in all the Ynnari like books or whatever. So like it'd be nice for them to be in their own little segment to be like, you know what, in a kind of like with the Imperial Agents, if you ally these in, it is going to be this many points because this army benefits greatly from them. But if you just take them in Drukhari, they kind of need them, so you run them a little cheaper or whatever. So I think it'll be very, very good, and I agree, Owl Duke. Less pressure on our units, so we can kind of we don't just like suffer side nerfs based on association. It's like nerf by association, which is it just sucks. Because it's like, who the heck uses Ravagers? And then all of a sudden, boom, Ravagers go up. Oh, that's right. The Ynnari players are using Ravagers, so now my Ravagers are more expensive. Taking Drazar on a list with Ivrain. Exactly, right? I think Drazar was sent to hunt Ivrain. Isn't that like lore-wise how that works? I assume Succubi, Witches, Cabalites, Raiders, and Venoms, maybe Ravagers, Scourges, but I don't think so. Also Incubi. Maybe the Vizark will actually be able to lead Incubi. Who knows? We'll see. It'd be really cool to see what they can do with that, right? Like, I think that being able to split stuff like that, is very, very important to be able to, like, compartmentalize, especially if they're doing all these different factions. Like, I think Drukhari will stay as its own book. I don't think they'll amalgamate Drukhari into, like, Eldar. Kind of like they did do that with Harlequins though. But who knows? We'll see. You know, who knows? Other than that, I'm excited to see what they do with the codexes. Now that we're like a year and a half into this edition, we've got like a year and a half left. Like really, for 10th. Like think about it. We're passing that halfway point where we're like, we're on the way out now of 10th edition. You know, that's how quickly they cycle through these things. It's going to be wild. Probably be names as Ynnari Witches, Ynnari Incubi, different to differentiate them from Drukhari. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm very curious to see it. I think first it's, what is it, Guard first and then Ynnari. So we'll see what happens with that. But thanks for your question, Alduke. Next question. Danny Codd says, "Hi, Skari." Hello, Danny. "Do you think that in the new Ynnari detachment they will fix the lore error of having Drazar and Navrain at the same time?" We were just talking about that. I think it'll be, I certainly hope so. Well, like, at the same time, if they want to sell models, they want to sell models, right? It's like, well, why not have them fight together? It's like a alliance of convenience because the Chaos Forces showed up on their planet. Now they have to shake hands and be friends with each other while they fight Chaos. So I can see that being sort of like a, yeah, it does, you know, at the same time, yes, I do think, and I hope that they'll fix it, you know. Yeah, sure. Why would Drazar play with Navrain? No. Drazar and Navrain want to murder each other. I think that would be like the most lore accurate thing, right? Desperate allies. Exactly. Exactly. Also, Laura not being able to take Jane Zara in Ynnari. Yeah, that makes sense too, considering the whole book. They wrote a whole book about it and stuff and everything. So, yeah, who knows how that'll go. You know, the aspect wars. No, the Phoenix Lords. Like, why can't you take an Iron Phoenix Lords? They show up. Doesn't matter. They show up all the time in the lore, right? Except for Drazar. Drazar is like a Phoenix Lord, right? Anyway, moving on. Archon Morsan says, or the lore error of not having. Oh my goodness. we just talked about that too. Okay, moving on. I think we got the point. Yeah, that's really funny. I think everybody just kind of really wanted to talk about. Everybody wanted to talk about Ynnari today. Sure, it is Friday, the 10th of January, 2025. Oh my goodness gracious! Good day, cookies and salad. What's going on? Bamboo Brains. Hey, Skari. Hello, Bamboo and Brains. Happy New Year to you and yours. Happy New Year to you and yours. In an Art of War video, Quinton put heat lances on his Talus for a Reaper's Wager list. Yeah, neat. Do you have any thoughts on that? Heat lances on Talus are interesting. They allow you to advance and shoot, because I believe they're assault. They are twin-linked, and they can have a pain token, so they're one of the most reliable, like, heavy hitter anti-tank stuff that we have. And in Reaper's Wager, you can give them like sustained hits, which probably makes them way more reliable. The only thing I don't like about heat lances is they're like one shot. That's it, and they hit on 4s. So even with rerolls, it's like so inconsistent. That's the only reason I don't like them. They're one-shot weapons. You can have the best weapon in the game, and it's just one shot. Like, you're going to roll that one to hit, you're going to re-roll that one into 1, and it's going to be when you need it at a tournament. Like, yes, you get a little bit of extra mobility, yes, you get the extra AP, it is twin-linked, but it's like, it's just, I get frustrated with weapons like that. I'm sure it kills stuff. You know, when it kills stuff, but when it doesn't, and you need it to, it's like, it just hurts my soul, basically. I personally prefer the Haywire, just because of the extra range a lot of the time, like 24-inch range, instead of the 18. And also because it's a little bit more versatile. You know, twin-linked on Haywire with 3 damage means that you get those 6s to wound once in a while and do like a couple of damage to like a Demon Prince or, you know, or a like kill a Terminator outright or do some damage to a Primarch or something. You can just be like, just fish for those 6s. Whereas a lot of the time these things have like a good invul save or whatnot, or they're -1 to hit or something, and all of a sudden it's like the heat lance is one shot. Like you really feel it, basically. I hate twin linked on such weapons. Rather have more shots. Right. I like my Dark Lance skirts that roll ones in 2 rounds, even with 2 pain tokens. Yep. Yeah, we know how that feels with even with Dark Lances on Scourge, right? And also you're vulnerable to invul saves. Correct. Like, it doesn't matter how much AP you have until, boom, invul save. By the way, almost 50 people watching. Make sure you click that like button. Also, if you're watching this, click that like button. It really helps the video get noticed. And like that, we can get the algorithm going. Come on, let's go. Other than that, that's sort of like my thoughts on that. I'm currently running 2 units of 2 Talus. One with Haywires. Not sure if the second should be more Haywires or to try those Heat Lances in theory. They should get pretty close to their target. I unfortunately don't have the time to test before LVO, and I'd love your thoughts. So I personally would go for Haywire. That's what I would do. However, some people really enjoy Heat Lances. If you had 3 units of Talos, I could see 2 Haywire, 1 Heat Lance. Now, with the prevalence of potentially demons at the event, because of the new demon detachments, I could see the Heat Lances having some more play, just to be able to put a little bit of punch into a demon. However, it's still only 1 shot, and demons have an invul save. So it's very unlikely to do more damage than, on average, if you start at 24 inches away, you're likely to do probably more, if not the same amount of damage with just Haywire than you would a Heat Lance in a lot of situations. I don't know what the exact math is, but I'm pretty sure I would prefer to have multiple turns of shooting at 24 than having to get really close where this demon can just advance and charge me, or something like that, and just get right up in my face. As for LVO, Bamboon Brains, see you there. But I would say Haywire, especially with all the Marines out there. Phil asks, hey Skari, do you think you will ever bring back Meta Monday stat check, or is that too much for one stream with questions plus list crunch? Well, I would love to do the Meta Monday and stat check stuff. It's really more about scheduling. So, the stat check Meta Monday. So Meta Monday turned into the Q&A part of this video, right? So I'll answer your questions, I'll do it. And not everybody was really into sort of the hard meta stuff. So we didn't we used to really talk about in-depth meta. Now that is a segment I could add to this. If folks really want me to add the meta analysis part of the video into the weekly show, I could kind of break down the meta week by week going into the weekend. Sure, I wouldn't mind adding that in. It's just a matter of getting the graphs and stuff again, which is fine. And it was Jeremy from StatCheck that used to send all that to me while I was doing that part of the episode. But I guess I could source it myself, with the website. And then list crunch after that. The biggest thing is I'd have to probably add a bunch of time, half an hour to the show. So, and my Fridays are crunched between coaching calls. So normally I wake up in the morning, have a coaching call, do the Monday show, and have coaching calls from noon all the way to 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 6 o'clock in the evening. So it's Fridays when I put a lot of my work, and adding it's just going to be tight, is what I would say. But if you folks, all the patrons, want me to start breaking down the meta more, absolutely, I can talk a little bit about meta analysis and talking about percentages and, win rates and stuff like that if it's something that folks want. But if you do want it, just let me know. Voice it. This is the first I've heard about it in a while. So Phil, thank you for bringing that up. I pose it out there as a question. If folks want me to talk about it, definitely can. So definitely can. While we're on Talos weapons, says Zinth, is there any reason to keep the macro scalpel versus take the liquefy gun? Not really. I take the gauntlet and the liquefy gun. You can only pick one close combat weapon, and the only extra close combat weapon you get is the Ichor injector, I think. Which, sure. So you'd have to pick the macro scalpel or the gauntlet, and if you have 2 macro scalpels, it doesn't actually do anything for you. It's irrelevant. Maybe they'll switch it in the codex. Who knows? Hey, VTS5. Happy New Year. What's going on? Jericho Faust says, I run an all-coven Drukhari. I watch tier list, and they put racks so close to the bottom. I love 10 racks. My question is, why no love for racks? I think I could answer that in one sentence: is Rax do not have killing power. They have staying power, they just don't kill anything. They have like the guns, so every once in a while they'll kill, like finish off a unit to get the extra pain tokens. They're okay for that. But when it comes to like sending 10 racks, giving them a pain token, and trying to kill a unit of Marines, it just doesn't happen. They just don't kill anything. They're just terrible. And they're strength 3, and unless they're attacking infantry, even against infantry, they're only ever wounding on like 4s unless they're in Sky and then have lethal out of a transport, you know. But even then, they're only like AP1 with a pain token. It's like they just don't do anything. They just sit there. So they're great screens, but they just don't. They're good OC, like objective control. They don't do anything. I'm running 2 units of 5 with Urien because he can like bring them back to life and stuff like that, and they are useful in that capacity. But other than that, I've tried the 10 strong unit. I've done the 10 strong with Urien and a homunculus to try and keep them alive, and they just die real fast. You know, if they had like a 5-up invul, or if they could be in a squad of 20 maybe, but or if they had like, they were just better in combat so they could actually kill things. Potentially that would be incredible, but no. I feel like, but they're not terrible. They're not like at the bottom of the list. They just, a 10 strong rack unit is not something I would recommend. I'd always want to split it into 2 5s, because then when they die, they give you a pain token. And if they kill something, which maybe they do, they give you extra pain tokens, so you can kind of mix and match there, right? Carl says you can add it for a higher tier. Yes. Without striking any, what do you think Drukhari will fare in the new guard codex? Favorable, even worse than now? I have no idea. Right now, I think, like right now as it stands, Drukhari into guard is okay. Into the new sign detachment, it's a little rougher if they have 0 tanks. There is a specific Scion army that I've played against a few times that is incredibly tough to deal with. Good. Thank you, John Winter Russell, one of the best guard players in the world, who's literally been putting me through the ringer with his Aquilon list. And I will say that it's very frustrating to play against. And I think it'll get easier in the future. But right now, it is tough. But if a guard player brings like Lehman Russes and stuff, way easier. Way easier for me to play into that. So it really depends on the composition of the list. Jericho says, I'm just curious what people are seeing that I don't with Rax. Yeah, it's just the durability and being able to kill stuff, you know, really. Randy the Savage. Hi, Scary. Hello, Randy the Savage. New Drukhari player here. Welcome to the Dark City, my friend. I mainly play at 1,000 points. Which detachment do you think is better at lower points, Sky or Real Space? Or Reapers. You could do either or. To be honest, I think what wins at small point values is don't spend too many points on upgrades or characters. Like that's, like, don't spend too many. Take more things at small point levels. Will win you games. Don Houston. Hey, Don. How's it going? Scary, looking forward to seeing you next week. I will buy you a tasty beverage. Tasty beverage. Don Houston. Oh, thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate it. I'm really excited to see you, and the crew at LVO will be at the Airbnb, all hanging out together. It'll be a good time. Duff, I love how GW refuses to give Hand of the Archon an actual data sheet, but it does for things like Nemesis Claw or options like regular kit like Votan and Legionnaires. I don't know what their thought process is there. The Kill Team Drukhari unit is very cool looking. It looks fantastic. It has like all these options. I wish they would like amalgamate it into the codex. You know, it'd be really good. Never YouTube. Let Rax pick any number of special weapons. Maybe they could kill something. I know, if I could have all hex rifles, all, you know. Actually, one of the things that would change Drukhari quite drastically would just give all our flamers ignore cover. Like, it's a very subtle change, but give liquefiers, Shredder, Medusa, like give all the like flamer stuff ignore cover. It would actually make a big deal of a difference. The fact that they don't ignore cover is weird to me. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Troy says, hey, Scary. Hey, Troy. Happy New Year to you as well. How was your holiday? It was very good, thank you. I enjoyed not doing anything for 2 weeks. I am not very good at taking time off, and this year I've had to sort of like train myself to like actually take time off, you know what I mean? And like take time to myself and try and like chill. I get very uncomfortable when I don't have anything to do. And so sitting there and being like feeling anxious that I need to get stuff done and being like, wait a second, it's my holiday. I don't need to get anything done. It feels weird. But it was good. What would you say is your number one goal or New Year's resolution for this coming year? Okay. Good morning, Charles. What's going on? Be careful when agents of Nurgle offer drinks. I know. I'll have my antitoxins ready. Okay, that was a great question, Troy. So, my goal this year is to be the number one player in the ITC. I know it sounds like a crazy goal, but I'm going to be partnering with the Red Dragon in Ottawa. And I'm going to be going to a super major every 2 months. So by the time I hit LVO, I shall have gone to 6 or 7 super majors this year. I'm going to the London GT. I'm going to Manchester earlier in this year, like in like 6 weeks or whatever. And then I'm going to pretty much every one of the largest events. Thanks to the sponsorship of Red Dragon in Ottawa. So I'm going to be documenting my journey. I'm going to be doing lots and lots of test games. I'm going to be playing lots of games of competitive Warhammer, but that is my goal. Now, the official launch of this will be right after LVO, right, where I'm going to be crushing it out, and that's my goal. That is like my New Year's resolution. I'm going to be working really hard. I've already cleared it with the family. I'm going to be traveling a lot this year, so stay tuned. It's going to be a process. It's going to be me going and trying to be consistent for the first time since before COVID. Like I had planned to do this before COVID struck, and then then all the lockdowns happened. I had planned to go to Adepticon and Nova and all the big events that year, and COVID kind of shut that down. And now in part because I'm partnering with the Red Dragon, and Dan was like, yeah, and the Art of War. So Red Dragon, Art of War, basically partnering together with me, and they're sending me to these events. And so I'm going to be playing at the largest events in the world and pushing for the number one spot on the ITC. And that's my goal for this year. It's a big goal, but I know I can do it. So it's going to be intense. And I'm going to do it with good sportsmanship. I'm going to do it with a smile on my face. I'm going to do it with hard work and consistency. I'm going to film the whole process. I'm going to share this journey with all of you. And I hope that while you're like watching and you enjoy it, that's going to be it. So consider this announcement as like the soft launch of what's going to happen. One of the first majors I'll be going to for this will be the Manchester GT. I'm going to that in the UK. I'll be basically flying out on Thursday night, getting there Friday, playing Saturday, Sunday, flying back on Monday. So I'm going to be jet lagged to all hell, but that's my goal. Yeah, and if you want to stick around for that, make sure you do, because I'm going to be tips, tricks, like learning things I learned, things I haven't learned. It's going to be a wild ride. And next year's, I'm going to open my eyes and it's going to be like, boop. I mean, like the whole year is going to have gone by. And then next year at LVO, I'll be like, what a whirlwind this has been. You know what I mean? So stay tuned for that. I'm really, really excited for that. And I've got tons of team events as well. I would like to play for Team Canada again this year and help Canada get to a podium position or at least a top 10 at the world stage. So I'm like, I'm pumped for that. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for the question. Really appreciate that, Troy. That is my New Year's resolution. That is my goal for this year. That is my goal. You can clip it. You can share it. You can press the like button. You can comment down below. Do you think I can do it? Do you think I can do it with Drukhari? Do you think I need to switch my armies around? Because I don't think I'm going to be army agnostic, but I'd like to do it with Drukhari just to prove a point, right? However, that might be, switching back and forth. We never know, right? Yeah. That's cool, goes, says Brohammer. I believe in Scary. Thank you very much. My goal is to make, good morning, Phil. My goal is to make at least 7 new friends through GTs. That's awesome. Cookies and salad. Also newly getting into playing Drukhari, just now building my first combat patrol. I'm really pumped. Awesome. Are you going to be at Adepticon? I'll be playing in champs with Drukhari, says Phil. Uh, I'm supposed to be going to Adepticon with Mini Wargaming. However, that's the weekend right after my son's birthday. And we might have a birthday party planned that weekend, which means I'm not going because family comes first. Yep. And so my kid does come first. So, but if we do the party the before or the weekend after, then I'll be at Adepticon. But I'll be working the Mini Wargaming booth. I won't be playing at the GT. The GT doesn't give me enough points for my big goal, so I might not be able, I probably wouldn't be playing at the GT. Go Scary, says Robert. Nice. Zinth Scary about to get Bombers to 300 points. That's a challenge. I like it. That's really cool. Excited to hear. Hopefully you can get some downtime in between to stay fresh. I'm going to have to force myself to get downtime. I think I made a mistake picking AdMech this year, says Talos. Whatever makes you happy, right? Play what makes you happy. Jericho, have you played more of the Reaper's Wager? Any chance on your thoughts of the detachment or hidden tech? I have played lots of games with Reaper's Wager. I've been posting all my practice games on Patreon for Scourge, Trueborn, and Incubi level patrons. And it's like full 4-hour games that I've tested on TTS and a lot of Reaper games. My assessment of Reaper is I like it. I need to see what the new Eldar Codex brings because the Harlequin elements of that sort of like always let me down. if that makes sense. If you were to play another army, what would it be? Probably AdMech. Yeah. Either AdMech or Sisters of Battle or Black Templars. You know, I'd literally play Orcs. I play Necrons. Like, whatever. Just give me an army. And then I'll test it 20 times and then take it to a GT. I had my first tournament since 2nd edition in March and wanted to take Drukhari, but I don't trust my brain not to burn out on so many moving parts. I trust that. Take an easier Drukhari army. You spend 2 points on bombers, and then you don't have to spend many points on anything else. Charles says, don't use Drukhari. You'll get us more nerfed. Well, we'll see, Charles. Sup, Basement Collective. Hey, what's going on? Nice to see you out here. Oh, man, that's a blast from the past. Owl Duke, hello, everyone. Happy to catch a stream. Yes, I went over your question, Owl Duke. Jericho Faust. In all my Coven army, I run Reaper's Wager just for the strats. Yeah, Reaper's Wager is great for strats. Ryan Contento. Just make sure you get your kid some minis for his birthday. That's right. I know. He's like, he wants to come on one of the trips with me. He's like, Dad, I want to go to Europe with you. I want to go to London. I'm like, okay, we'll figure something out. So I'm going to end up having to take my kid to one of these events just to, you know, pad the brownie points with the family sort of thing. Okay, moving on to the next question. Brimstone asks, hello, Mr. Scary. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to all of you as well, and to you as well. What are your thoughts on the Grotmus detachments? Some are good, some are okay, some are meh. Yeah. Were they good, and do you think they should do something like this more often? Thank you for your time. Yes, I think the Grotmus detachments were a fantastic idea. I like that they can add so much to the game doing so little work, right? So like being able to go, here's like 10 pages for like a faction here, a faction there, that sort of thing. That's really cool. And then they have, you know, I saw, I think, a thing about the Death Watch up above, like being able to release an entire index, being like, yeah, you know what, Death Watch players, we done a boo-boo. Here's your Death Watch rules again. I think that's very good. Now, some, like Zachara says, you know, Agents of the Imperium, I don't know what they were thinking. Yeah, sure, assassins be cool, but they're like, you have to take assassins, and you have to make them more expensive. You know what I mean? Sure. You know, some of them are fun, and some of them are definitely competitive. But, like, for example, demons. They gave demons. Ooh, those 4 demon detachments, they're quite good, right? And it really adds a lot of flavor to demons. You know, now it's like, well, are they Slanesh? Are they Nurgle? Are they Khorne? Are they Tzeentch? And all of a sudden, it's like you have like so many more options. Or you know, like Necrons have been good this entire edition, and they're like, well, here's another good thing. So now Necrons continue to be good. You know, I think one of the biggest changes they did recently was the change to Oath of Vomit, which has literally brought Space Marines back into the Space Marines gonna mess you up like feeling. because Space Marines can just kill things again, you know, and that feels very Space Marine-y. Like they're a small elite army, but they will mess you up, right? And I really like that. Now, did Ultramarines need it? No. Ultramarines did not need the +1 to wound, but they get it. So the poster child gets a bump, and I think that was very much by design. Yeah. What do you think is Drukhari's hardest matchups? Says Robert Strickland. Guard can be really tough. I think anything that can like kill you, anything that has like Necrons is okay, but they can be a little tough. I think Guard has been like my hardest matchup. And into Reaper's Wager, like I've had more hard matchups with Reaper's Wager because I was trying to make Harlequins work. But into my Sky list, Guard, depending on the mission, something like Wolf Jail can be really tough. Knights are usually okay, but you know, every once in a while you have that one game where all the knights survive with like 1 or 2 wounds, and then it all just goes south. And we've all had that sort of situation, so it really just depends as well. All they had to do is remove Epic Hero from Assassins. Yeah, literally all they had to do. They didn't do that, right? I really enjoyed how much excitement the Grotmus seems to have given a lot of factions. They definitely got that right. Like, Grotmus was like injection of like crazy amounts of amazing, like, woo, feeling energy, right? Dual Oath Ironstorm rerolls on Laser Destroyer tanks is terrifying. Yes, yes. Dual Oath, like Gulliman Dual Oath is just so silly. And then Ironstorm or Gladius is just very good. And there's like, and then you add in the odd Ballistas Dreadnoughts that also get rerolls. It's like they just get rerolls everywhere, you know? The Grotmus detachment are mostly very fluffy, and that's a win for GW. Yeah. Do you have any tips against Custodes, says Duff? I lost yesterday in round 3 with Wager. Bikes held all the saves against Lances, Lilith Witches, Solitaire, 2 Towels failed to kill the 5-man Guard Blade Champ unit. Hey, Tack, what's going on? Nice to see you, Tack. Towel? Oh, man. Yeah, it's been a while. How you doing? Duff. Well, with Custodes, like, if you want a good sort of tips against Custodes, watch my finals game on Tabletop Live against, not my finals game, my round 3 or 4 match at the Toronto Winter Open against Chris Haynes and his Custodes. And that's how you play against Custodes. Just as a, you know, just as a thought process. That's a very good video for you to watch. Looking forward to seeing your tournament journey this year. Good luck, have fun. Thank you, Robert. I really appreciate it. I'm really looking forward to, like, playing my heart out this year. And that's basically what you're going to see on display. I'm going to go to these events, and I'm going to win games. I'm going to lose games. I'm going to basically be as consistent as I can. I'm going to do it with a smile on my face and with giving takebacks and all that stuff. Like, it's going to be a fantastic time, and I'm going to do it while, you know, repping the Red Dragon brand and the Art of War brand as well. Okay, so with that, let's go into the second part of this, which is the list crunch. So the way list crunch works is Scourge, Trueborn, Incubi level patrons can submit one army list every single week. Of course, next week I'm going to be in Vegas, so no next week, but the week after, sure. And I can read their army list, and I will give you food for thoughts. I spend a couple of minutes per list, and I'm not going to fix all your problems instantly, but I will, because I don't have time, but I will give you some food for thought where you can like take the ideas that I talk about and then either put them into practice or use them for your development of a list for later on. And hopefully it gives you some like food for thought. It generates discussion. It makes you think about stuff. And we do have quite a few lists, which is exciting because I love to see like people's ideas. Sometimes I even like, ooh, I like that idea, and then I totally steal that idea and then like try it in a battle report or put Luca against it, or because I have access to all the mini wargaming like armies, I can just like run some wacky concepts or ideas and be like, oh, I wonder how this would actually play on the tabletop. And then I play it, and I'm like, then I have real life feedback on certain things as well. Kyle McKenzie, almost 2 a.m., but you made it. I'm glad you made it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Scary World Tour 2025. The World Tour will happen, okay? This is not the World Tour. This is just my push for the ITC. But the World Tour, definitely going to happen, but probably going to happen once my son is out of high school. So as soon as my kid is out of high school and like goes off and lives on his own or whatever, in this economy, who knows? You might just like end up living in my house the entire time. But that's fine. You know, we're a big happy family. Let's just put me going on a plane and traveling around the world, playing a game of Warhammer in every single country that I can go to, basically. If you start using AdMech Halo or SHC, the Hunter cohort, I think is more competitive than Halo, but Halo has some cool concepts. I think Hunter cohort is definitely like uppy downy and stuff like that, just wins games. So definitely something to keep in mind over there. Okay, let's break down these lists. List Crunch Guar says, "Hi Scary, been looking that interesting concept I saw. Ynnari with Armored Warhost. Cab special weapons and raiders with Assault. Rerolls by Farseer with Guide, Enhancement. Shroud Runners giving it lethals. Harmonization matrix for Warlock, Guardians, Venoms, Sector objectives, etc." So, something to say about this list concept. There is a current argument right now that is going around that states that this detachment cannot use the Drukhari units. Now it's an interesting sort of like thought process there, because I can see why they would think it, but at the same time I don't understand like why it wouldn't be the case. Right? So here we go. Where's this? Where are we over here? La 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 la. So, folks believe that the Ynnari detachment is locked to Battle Host, and that you can only take Ynnari with Battle Host. Now, I've done a little bit of sort of like checking this out and stuff like that, right? And I understand why folks might see this as the case. Where is this? Here, this one here. So, for example, so if you look at the detachment rule, right? The detachment rule for Battle Host is this. It literally has it right here. It says, so it has like this detachment rule, and it has this box, right? And it says, if your army faction is Eldari. So some folks, I believe, are interpreting this rule to only be valid for this specific detachment because of where it is. However, I don't think that's the intent, because of the fact that Corsairs and Traveling Players are right here as well, right? Like you have the rules for the Drukhari literally in that sort of like Battle Host area thing too. So it's like, if this detachment was the only one that could use the Ynnari rule, then why is the Corsair stuff here that affects the Drukhari army, right? Like that, so it doesn't make any sense to me. I feel like you are supposed to be able to use the new detachment with these rules, but I can see why there's an argument otherwise. At the same time, I think it'd be really cool to have like other armies be able to use Drukhari units and stuff like that, etc., to make it more interesting. But just know that there is sort of like a discussion online happening right now about yes or no, right? That sort of thing. Exactly, the Jackal. So Drukhari can only use Harlequin's Battle Host. That's right. Like, that doesn't make sense, right? Because it's literally in the same little square, except that happens for Drukhari. However, it's really funny because you go into, like, the app, and you build a Reaper's Host, a Reaper's Wager army, and in the Reaper's Wager army, you have, like, if you put any Corsair units in, it says you're not allowed to ally Eldari units into a Reaper's Wager. Just weird. Okay, so I don't know. Maybe it's like something they just haven't paid attention to or stuff like that. Like, who the heck knows? But, Guar, let's say that you can do this. Let's go through it real quick. You've got a Skyrunner, another Skyrunner, so 2 Jetbike Farseers. You've got a Warlock and a Ivrain. Then you have 10 Defenders, You have a Wave Serpent. You have 3 Shroud Runners. You got a D Cannon. You got a 11 strong troop. I'm not a fan of the troop, to be honest. You've got cabs, so 2, 3, 30, 40 cabs. Whew. And you have 4 Venoms to split them, and then 2 Raiders and Lilith. So lots of MSU. That's not a bad idea. I think one of the best ways to run anything that is Ynnari, anything at all, is with a Tantalus, especially if you're playing on GW terrain. And then take something that ignores cover, like a Viper in this case, because then you could like split all the stuff with Venoms, put all like the important guns into the Tantalus, then put Guide on the Tantalus, which then you only need 1 Farseer, so it saves you points there, and then you can like ignore cover with a Viper and then blast stuff with a Tantalus that has ignore cover and reroll hits, which is kind of like a pain token, and then you can do like, you know, like all the cool stuff with that, right? So just things to keep in mind. I think that you're spending too many points on characters. I don't think you need the Warlock. I don't think you need the second Farseer Skyrunner. I think you like if Rain goes well with the troop, right? But by spending those, you can get the Vizark for the fights first. I think if you're going to take the troop with the Rain, you need to take the Vizark. Like that combo just works so well together. So that's the only thing I'd kind of like move around, maybe drop the Skyrunner, and the Warlock, and then add in, add in the Vizark, and then maybe tweak a couple points. Another big thing is you don't have any uppy downy in this detachment. So if you're gonna do an Ari, Mandrakes, a Beast Pack are also very, very useful. That sort of thing, just so that you can like get up and aggressive onto the opponent and have uppy downy. Like uppy downy, whether it's Swooping Hawks, whether it's you need something that can like redeploy to kind of get you points so the rest of your army can focus on like playing the game, and it forces your opponent to screen and things like that, or Warp Spiders that can like yeet up and kind of do stuff. So very important elements of just an Eldar army in general that I think is good to have in your back pocket. But just some food for thought as we move on to the next list. Carl posted a list as well. RTT Saturday. By the way, we call this segment the List Crunch because it's like a nice big bowl of cereal where you eat a delicious, nutritious bowl of sugary crunch before the weekend, right? That's how it works. It was like Saturday morning cartoons back when I was a kid. Big bowl of sugary cereal, great for your developing brain, and cartoons. We turned out fine. We turned out fine, he says, as he wears a weird, funky hat. RTT Saturday. First time playing Drukhari in a bit. I know, you've been bouncing around a bit, Carl. Really am focused on Grots in Reaper. Yes, Grots and Reaper are great. Giving them advance and charge as need. Me stage behind buildings and stock objectives, then try to hold them with mid-range things. Court with 10 cabs. Enhancement to gain a pain token per turn and occasionally win the wager if need be. My meta has lots of World Eaters and Astra Militarum. Drazar is with Incubi and gets a Venom for rapid ingress. 10-man Hellion squad just to mulch one thing. Any tips, suggestions would be great. So the big thing about the gain a pain token thing, you only gain a pain token if you're losing the wager. So if Drukhari are losing the wager, you gain a pain token, then you flip the wager. If Drukhari are winning the wager, you give up a pain token and lose a wager. I think is that how that works? Now you're making me check this. Don Hoosen in the chat says, as a Death Guard player, watching everyone else with options for uppy downy makes me grumble, like Thorngrim Ironbeard. Yeah, I guess uppy down. Like uppy downy is one of those things. Like uppy downy, 6-inch deep. Uppy downy is like fantastic. 6-inch deep strike is very good. Scout is amazing. Infiltrate is amazing. There's specific things that are very, very good in the current edition of Warhammer 40,000. Which, by the way, here's a question to all of you watching right now. Number 1, have you liked this video? If you haven't, please hit the like button. Number 2, which special rule do you think has the most impact in Warhammer right now? Is it Infiltrate? Is it Scout? Is it Stealth? Is it Uppy Downy? Right? Is it 6-inch Deep Strike? Right? What is it? Let me know. I'm curious. I'm very, very curious. And then we put on the little music as we go. Reaper's Wager, Enhancements, Conductor of Torment. So if Drukhari are losing the wager, you gain a pain token in winning. If Drukhari are winning the wager, you discard a pain token. So that means that in order to gain a pain token, you need to be making sure that your Drukhari are losing the wager by the time it's your next turn. Which means you need to make sure the Harlequins kill the last thing in your turn or in your opponent's turn. So it's not easy to like make that happen, right? Ooh, Loan Up is another good one. Loan Up. Duff says loan up. That's another good key rule. Rapid ingress, that's a stratagem, though, not a special rule. But stratagem with fights first. Like, fights first is another good one, right? Fights first. And I'm sure there's a whole bunch of combinations that are very, very good, discussion-wise. Like, which one do you think is best, right? Uppy Downy says exile, infiltrate, with combined infiltrate scout. Indirect says, okay, so indirect is a special rule. Uppy Downy says Charles. Infiltrate and Uppy Downy pretty much tied for me. Infiltrate can really set the battle. Protects your scouts. Yeah, Uppy Downy literally wins games. Yep, Uppy Downy literally wins games. Infiltrate defines staging in the early phase of the game. Yes. Infiltrate can, allow you to scout, right? So they all have, different elements. Can prevent opponent scouts, right? To get up in your face and stuff like that. I love the dynamic of all those special rules. I think it works really well. Okay. Really focus on grots, etc. My meta has lots of World Eaters and Astral Militarum. Drazar is with the Incubi, goes into Venom for rapid ingress. 10-man Hellion Squad. Okay. So Archon with Conductor Torment. I prefer the Deep Strike on him with the Court. It's cheaper and it actually works really, really well for a rapid ingress, which has worked very well in Reapers for me. Drazar, Lilith, 10 Caps and Witches, Venom, a big Court, Kronos, 6 Grotesques, 3 Grotesques. If you're going to do 6 and 3, just go 3x3. I think that's just 3x3. Big unit of 10 Hellions. I have to try them in Reapers. I think there's a lot of potential there. 5 Incubi with him is good. Uppy Downy Mandrakes. 1 Ravager. 1 Scourge unit with Haywires. Don't forget to upgrade your Solarite to have a Solarite close combat weapon. Can keep its carbine and still have a cool close combat weapon, which is important. 2 units of Talos with Liquifires and Haywires. If you're going to do Haywires on the Talos, I highly recommend Lances on the Scourge, just to kind of give you something that, with the Ravager, that can sit in the back and threaten at long range. And then, of course, the Solitaire. The Solitaire is decent. I like the Solitaire. He's okay, but every time I use him, I'm disappointed. So I would, if you're just going to do one character, I would definitely do a Death Jester. Personally, but that's just me. Every time I use a Solitaire, I'm just sad because he's so many points and doesn't really do anything for me. Or my opponent makes all their saves, or he dies to a vehicle explosion randomly because he only has a few wounds. He's a frustrating unit. I want him to be so good, but he's just not. The deployment flex scout, yep. Real answer infiltrate scout, yep. Thank you, Cody. Really appreciate the shout out there. Play against Deceptors a lot. Infiltrate Legionnaires just force my hand far too often. Yep. Was in 3-inch Deep Strike, but now is 6. Can be screened allowed a lot more. Yep. 6-inch Deep Strike can be screened, but I think shoot and scoot is also incredibly powerful, or any ability that gives you a secondary move, like shoot and then move. So anything that has that sort of ability, also incredibly powerful as well. I played World Eaters without any Infiltrator Scout. That taught me a good lesson. Yes, you need to salute the Infiltrators against World Eaters and go, thank you for your sacrifice, and you put them right in front of the Lord Invocatus and go, you're all dead. Biggest win yesterday was Death Jester Battle Shocking a squad of Custodies with a... Nice. That's awesome. I love Shoot and Scoot. Shoot and Scoot is money. Okay, by the way, Carl, I love your list. It's good. I think the only thing I would kind of change there is just... I would go more MSU with the Grotesques, and I would change the Conductor Torment. I think you can get away with making it the Deep Strike one so that you can Deep Strike. Since you're not using a lot of Harlequins, you don't have to worry too much about it. The Solitaire is a flavor thing. I personally do not enjoy the Solitaire right now. Who knows? Maybe in the new Eldar book might be better, but who knows? Moving on, Brimstone says, hello, Mr. Scary. Hello, Brimstone. Here's my Chaos Space Marine list. I played this recently, and I had a lot of fun. Good. I struggle with the bikes They jumped on an objective but got wiped out quickly. Not sure if I use them effectively. What would you change, if anything? Any feedback is appreciated. Thanks for your time. So you're using Fabius Bile, so Creations of Bile, right? Are you using like Creations of Bile? I really like the new Creations of Bile detachment. I think it's quite good. Although it is a very command point hungry detachment. Does anybody else notice that? Like all the detachments they put out, like any of the good ones are like people want to use the stratagems and it's like you're starved for CP. Unless you're Guard, because Guard have Ursula Creed and Voxcasters, which gives them like an infinite amount of CP. Okay? Like that's just, it's just so silly that mechanic is in the game. They're like, no, you can only ever get one command point per battle round. But then they're like, wait, but if you have this thing that reduces command points to, you know, by 1, making them 0. But then, if you use a stratagem on this unit, you get a command point back. Oh, you can still only get 1 command point, but you get a free one every player turn. Brr, brr, brr. Don't even get me started. That grinds my gears, okay? That instead, it's like 1 per battle round, so that's 5 per battle round because of, you know, whatever it is. And then you get 2 free ones. That's like, so many command points. So many command points. Okay. Rant over. Oh, you have Gullman giving you free strats for player turn? Yeah, exactly. Bile gets straight gas. You could also combine that with an impulsor with a little comms relay, so then you get it on 5s or whatever. You could actually do it. There's a whole bunch of ways you could do it with Marines as well. Okay, just saying. Or you take Calgar and Gulliman, and then you have an extra CP and a free CP every turn. They've got like CP for days. They're like, I'm never going to run out of CP. It's like, so dumb. You're just shell-shocked because you finally have 5 or 6 good strats. Yeah, and no way to get extra CP other than burning scoring opportunities. Never, YouTube. I wish we had a way to gain extra CP somehow. Right? That'd be cool. 2 CP for Danse Macabre really hurts. Yeah, that reactive move for 2 CP is objectively bad. Nids can do that with a Hive Tyrant, I think. It's crazy. Yes, they can. Gotta go base coat Urien so you can be ready for the GT next week. Yeah, do it. Yummy, yummy. List crunch, Owl Duke. Get Urien ready. Urien is a boss. I freaking love Urien. If you're a Dark Eldar player that has not used Urien yet, do yourself a favor. Proxy an Urien. Print an Urien. Convert an Urien. Use an Urien in your games. They are so fun. Okay. Chaos Loaded Terminator Armor. 2 cultist mobs, 1 legionary unit, a rhino. 1 biker unit, 2 annihilators to spawn, a big brick of terminators, some chosen, a hellbrute, a blitz, raptors, and that's it. Okay. So I think one of the biggest things here is I do like the terminators in Creations of Bile. I think you can get away with, like you've got a decent amount of shooting, you got a decent amount of counter punch, right? And you got some like I don't think you need 2 units of cultists. I think you can get away with 1, but 2 is okay. Then again, where would you use the other points? Other than like if you find 20 more points, put in another unit of spawn. You know, that sort of thing. Maybe dropping 1 unit of cultists and 1 raptor unit gives you a warp talon unit. I do think having even a 5-man warp talon unit can be very, 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 very good. Because it gives you a unit that your opponent, if you play it right, like a surgical strike unit, your opponent can't really interact with it, right? Rapid ingress it, comes in, murders something, flies back into reserve, rapid ingress it again, comes in, murders something, flies into reserve. And so you can like always up trade it multiple times if you play it properly. And I think having at least 1 unit, even though they're really expensive, I think it's worth every penny. I would kill to have a unit like that. Especially into like a lot, like any of these little armies that you play, like Guard are squishy, Eldar are squishy, a small Marine unit, like Scouts or something, that you can go in and murder, you know, that sort of thing. So that's something to keep in mind. I do like Legionnaires. Now with Fabius, you know, you're not even using Fabius's Bile in the detachment, so you're just picking something. I just pick like +2 movement, right, and just make your army fast. Now, and that's like, other than that, you know, the Terminators where you have points left over, so you could drop it to 5 Terminators with the Chaos Lord and then have like more stuff, but you don't really need the Terminator Lord. You could run like a regular Lord so he can go with the Chosen that goes in the Rhino, and then you have like a regular Lord with Chosen for advance and charge for free and a Rhino, and that kind of unit is very, very powerful. So it's really like the Terminators. If you're not married to the Terminators, you can kind of get rid of them and then put in like another unit Chosen, another Rhino, and maybe drop the Cultists and put a second unit of Legionnaires. So ideally what I'd like to see is like 2 Rhinos, each with 5 Legionnaires, each with 5 Chosen with a Lord, or like a Lord and like a, I don't know, Fabius Bile in one of them or whatever. And like it just, they can stage up into like behind a ruin, and then they kind of like have that threat range. And then you have your long range predators and things like that, and stuff doing actions and forcing your opponent to engage with you, and then you can countercharge with like your stuff in Rhinos. That's how I've envisioned sort of like Creation of Biles being played. Now, on the flip side, you can do a complete opposite and do something like a foot army of Creations of Bile and do like 30 possessed on foot, 30 chosen on foot, and like 10 Terminators on foot, and then have a couple of little units do stuff like Legionnaires, or do 60 Legionnaires on foot and make them all Creations of Bile, give them like +2 movement, just like yeet them forward onto objectives and see if your opponent can kill them all, right? So there's a couple of different ways you can play that detachment. Proxy found the original. Nice. Maybe they release Vex and he gives a CP. Oh, who knows? Maybe sacrifice a squad. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool to get a CP. Like, how would Drukhari gain an extra CP? Tyranids frustrate me with a 25 CP Tyranid swarm load. Yeah, exactly. Right? It's just the amount. Like, some armies just have like crazy CP usage, and some are like, you know, relegated to meh CP usage. Right? Urien is definitely next on my list. When Urien resurrects, you don't get the one-shot weapon back, right? You do not. He just comes. Yeah, he just comes back. You've already used his weapon. 10 Terminators was decent when I tried, but I think in World Eaters the answer is them skewing 20 to 30. Yeah, you can definitely always skew stuff. But I hope Brimstone that helps with your thought process. Moving on. Raise. Raises a point. Ha. Hey, Scary. I have an RTT this coming Saturday and another the Saturday after. Nice. My meta is very Custodes and Ultramarines heavy with a sprinkling of Necrons. Nice. I just picture the guy doing this with like Necrons. I wanted to make a list to counter all of the vehicle spam, but I'm not sure what to cut that won't be effective into the dread spam and hull spam. I've considered cutting the court, Incubi, or the Beastmaster. Ooh. Don't cut the court, don't cut the Beastmaster. They're too good. Oh, you're playing Reaper's Wager, so you could cut the court. Like, the court's okay, but not needed in Reaper's Wager, I've been finding. It's very, very good, but, like, if you don't have Wraith-like Retreat, it just, you commit it and then it dies. There's no real way to, like, stop it. Even in Real Space Raid, you've got the 2 CP shoot and scoot, so you can, like, or, like, move and scoot, so you can, like, get it out and put it behind a building, or whatever, so you don't really have to commit it. So let's take a look at it. You've got an Archon with Arc Raider for the Scout. Okay, you got a Beastmaster. Beastmaster Beast Pack is best pack. Okay, do not take that out. Drazar, Lilith, Urien. So you definitely have a lot of points in characters. I would drop either Drazar or Lilith, personally. Keep Urien in there, though. Cabs, Witches. If you drop Lilith, you can drop the Witches. Raider, Venom, Court, Chronos, Incubi, Drakes, Scourges, Talos, and then a Solitaire and 2 Void Reavers. I'd drop the Solitaire, to be honest. Like, out of all of those things, drop the Solitaire. You've got the Haywires on the Talos, which is good. The Scourge, I'd definitely do Dark Lances, because just to have something that can shoot at range, that's it. That's the only reason. Something that's long range that can just, even though they're not super effective, but then having 115 points. If you drop Arc Raider, it's 15 points. You literally flip the Solitaire to a second unit of Scourge. I think that would actually really help your list. And you don't have to change much. Drop the Solitaire, drop Arc Raider, and then you get 115 points. I mean 130, which gives you a second Scourge unit. I think that would give you a good leg up. Like that, you could actually have 1 Haywire Scourge unit, 1 Lance Scourge unit, and it gives you way more shoot and scoot and very good into like hull style armies, especially with all the Haywire that you have. And that's literally it. That's kind of my thought process there with that. is what I would go for. I also wish Homunculi could passively generate pain tokens, like one in your command phase would help in matchups where they're hard to generate. Yep. What are the top 3 Drukhari models that need resculpts? Grotesques, Urian, Beastpack, Court. Are those that's all of the ones, yeah. And then the Tantalus, if they want to make it in plastic, which would be cool. And on to the next one. We have Troy. Hey, Scary. Making a list for an RTT due on the 15th. As discussed in our call, wanted to try out Lion's Blade. Do you think there would be merit in either running this in Stormlance or Gladius? Gladius. Without even looking at your list, Gladius. There's always room for Gladius. Gladius is very, very good competitively. It just gives you the best combination of rules, stratagems, and decent enhancements. I think Gladius just works the best at a competitive level. Do you think this list has legs into the top lists out there? And we'll check it out. Also have 10 points extra. Do you think there's any opportunity to use those, or I just leave them? The Terminator Chaplain could go with the Sword Deathwing Knights to help them not get stuck on bigger mobs, which I ran into in testing. A Chaplain on a bike would go with Outriders to get a spicy 3 damage on his charge, maybe an epic challenge snipe. Idea with this list is that I can play very well into Elite and Army list due to the Plasma. Deathwing Knights against Pressure or Horde, I'd use the mobility to score points while trying to clear as much as possible. And then move block as well. You have to make sure you have those screens up as best you can. Okay, so we have Dark Angels, Lion's Blade, so you got 10 points left over. You have Azrael, he's great for the extra CP. Chaplain, Terminator Armor, Chaplain on a bike, the Judiciary, Ravenwing Command Squad, 5 Intercessors, 5 Deathwing, 5 Deathwing, Infiltrators, 6 Inner Circle, 5 Scouts, 1 Invader, an Outrider unit of 3, a Ravenwing Black Knight unit, Ballista Strider, a Storm Speeder, and a Callous Assassin. So it's a decent all-round list. I think this list would do well in Gladius, absolutely. You know, giving you like extra movement and ability to do shenanigans and stuff like that. I think the biggest thing being like being able to use like advance and charge, like whenever you need, or fall back and shoot, or advance and shoot, right? So you can kind of pick and choose what you need at a time, which is really, really good. I think if you wanted to go for more like, so for example, you have 10 points left over. The only thing I could see you sort of like really sort of like playing around with is the Outrider unit and that Chaplain. Out of everything that you've put here, that Outrider unit and the Chaplain is not really like what I would consider peak competitive. Like, they're good, don't get me wrong, but I've played them and they just die a little too fast for what the amount of points you've invested in them. Like, 3 Outriders would probably do much better as a second unit of Intercessors, and would probably do more damage because of their new like rapid bolter discipline thing or whatever. However, you do have a Chaplain on a bike, which is 75 points, plus that unit, it's 80 points, right? So you're looking at what, 155 points plus 10 points. So you have 165 points to use in this list. I don't think you need, like, if anything, another sort of like scout unit would probably be good, which gives you what, 95 points to play around with, because a second scout unit I think is very good in any Space Marine army, right? The Invader ATV is okay, especially if you're running Lion's Blade. If you're not running Lion's Blade, you can drop the ATV, and then you have 55 points left or something like that. But if you want to keep it as similar as possible, and you drop that 1 Chaplain in the Outriders, just drop that. You add in a second unit of Scouts, right? That gives you, and you have your 10 points, so it's 95 points you have left over. So you have Space Marines. Where are they? Adeptus Astartes, is that what they're at? No, Space Marines. Here we go. And then we go to data sheets. Oh, I have to go into points and stuff. Let me figure this out for you there. Space Marines. Advance. Where are you? Space Marines. Just Space Marines. That doesn't matter. Points. Create army. We go to other data sheets. So an assault intercessors with jump packs is a good choice. That's 90 points. You have like 5 points left over. Unit of company heroes is great. Those guys are just absolute money. Like there's so many wounds in that unit for 95 points. Like very good amount of wounds in that unit, right? You could do what else do you do? An Inferno squad potentially, but that's like 90 points or whatever. If you decided to not take the second unit of scouts, you could do a variety of different things with 165 points or whatnot, which would be like another land speeder. You could do a second land speeder is really good as a choice. You could also do a gladiator, valiant, or a reaper or a lancer. Like those three are fantastic choices, especially if you go for like more of a gladius. But like just having a reaper in your list, like reapers are absolute money. Like, and they supplement the ballistices very, very well in my opinion. But that's the kind of thing that I'm thinking about. You know what I mean? Like just kind of trimming the fat, and like you're spending a lot of points in characters, so dropping a couple of characters and like one of the supporting units that doesn't have like a specific role, and then adding in more stuff that helps you play and win the game, right? But hopefully that gives you some food for thought, Troy, as you move on to prepare for your event. Zinth, working on a list right now while I have a minute. Do you like grots in 3s or 6 in Reapers? I like 3s. I like multiple 3s. I'm a big proponent of MSU. If somebody wants to kill 6 grots, they'll kill 6 grots. So they might as well kill 3 instead, and you have 3 more over here doing other things. But you could try. Like I haven't really done the 6-man, so maybe it's just a lack of trying them out experience sort of thing. Okay, moving on. Connie says, "Hi, Scary. This list is for a 5-player team tournament. We are playing on an Alpine Cup layout. Yes, most layouts have good staging and fast melee should be good in this. My main job in this team should be good matches against any type of Marines, Chaos Space Marines, or any heavy infantry army, and to avoid armies like Tyranids, demons, and so on. The change I think about is dropping the Darklance Scourges and the second Kronos for an Archon and 5 Incubi. Do these have a vehicle? If they have a vehicle, sure. But if you're playing Sky Splinter, yeah, Incubi be good. I don't like dropping the second Kronos, though. If you want to score points, the Kronoses are just so good. Archon, Beastmaster, Lilithurian. So, fantastic choice of characters. 10 cabs, 10 witches, Raider, Venom. Yeah. You can get away with just doing 1 Raider and 2 Venoms. That's what my list usually has. 1 Court, Kronos, 10 Incubi. Well, I guess that's why you have the second Raider then. You don't really need another Archon then. Like 10 Incubi and a Raider, and then the Court and a Raider, that's plenty. 10 Mandrakes and 2 units of 5, 2 units of Scourge, and a Void Raven Bomber. This list is great. I love this list. Like, the only thing that you change is you have the 10 Incubi and an extra Raider. What I have is I have Talos and 2 units of Grotesques, Talos, and 2 units of Rax. But it's very similar to my list. Like, this list is good. You don't need to change it. This list will do great. Especially the 10 Incubi. If that's your role, that 10 Incubi brick is going to terrify people. Go in, murder stuff, and then hide. And then you can, for turn 1 and 2, you can kind of use the Court. And then turn 3, 4, 5, you use the Incubi. Or the other way around, depending on what the matchup is. And it's very, very, very strong. Yeah, I don't think you need to change it. Don't overthink it. Just dial it in and practice it as much as you can. The Coven's acquisition never ends, says Zinth. Yes, agreed. Phil. Hello, Phil. Hopefully you're doing well. I'm pretty happy with my current Ynnari list until the new Eldari Codex drops. So, here is something completely out of left field for me. Librarius, Space Marines. Nice. Might play on TTS, won't have this collection anytime soon unless I can borrow from friends. Some fun combos here with enhancements. Stern Guard with full rerolls versus Oath target, plus anti-vehicle monster, plus Strength 5 with Dev Wounds is bonkers strong. Assault Terminators advanced in charge, an option of fallback and charge to tie things up. Phobos Jail Librarian and Infiltrator's reactive move within 9. Try and catch me. Thoughts? Anything missing in this list? Okay, so the Librarius Conclave, very cool, like, detachment. Definitely kind of leans into, like, the Stern Guards. So you can, like, give them, like, and Librarians, of course, to give them abilities, but it really works off of the changes, like new Oath, new changes to, like, what they can do in terms of rerolls and things like that. Always very, very strong. And then it's nice as a palate cleanser, eh, Phil? It's going to, like, palate cleanser it on TTS. And then essentially get into it and be like, okay, time to change. Oh, good stretch, good stretch. Oh. So, Captain with a jump pack. Shield and Thunderhammer. Librarian. So 3 different types of Librarian. Cool. 5 Assault Intercessors. 5 Intercessors. Good core. 5 more Assault Intercessors jump packs with the Captain. 5 Infiltrators. Good. With the Phobos Librarian. Great combo still. Lone up Infiltrators are very, very good. 2 Annihilators. A Repulsor with the Stern Guard. You could also use, I think, a Drop Pod. I think. 2 units of Scouts. 1 Stern Guard unit. 1 Assault Terminator Squad with a Librarian. You could also use regular Terminators with that, because then they get sustained hits or whatever. I think that's pretty good if you just do it with the rocket launchers to shoot some stuff. 1 Callous Assassin, an Immolator with units of Sisters of Battle. Now that's really cool for the ignore cover. I would definitely go for the multi-Meltars on the Immolator instead of the Flamers, just to give you some additional anti-tank, based on the current meta. But if you are finding that, because then you can also kind of stay a little bit further back than having to get too close with the Immolator. I guess you could do it with the heavy bolter on the hull if you really needed to. But it just depends on what you think you need. 2,000 on the dot. Well, if it's on the dot, like, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You've got 15 units in this list. That's quite good for Space Marines. So I think in terms of number of units, it's good. Good combination of stuff. You are spending a little bit of extra points on, like, all of these Librarians, right? So, like, if you needed to trim points, I would definitely cut the Phobos Librarian. Like, the Infiltrators are cool with it, but that's like a nice to have. It's not a need to have. So you could put in, like, another thing. Maybe make, if that gives you enough points, make the jump pack intercessors a 10 strong with the Captain, so that when you really come in with, like, Hammer Wrath, you can do as much damage. Hey, Dorian, what's going on? You know, that sort of thing. But other than that, I like the thought process. I like that you have the Annihilators for guns and the Repulsor, which has a lot of anti-infantry guns as well, to kind of, like, have a nice mix. And then you've got a good counterpunch. In, like, I guess the Terminator Assault Squad gives you that good counterpunch. But you also have Uppy Downey. 2 units of Scouts and a Callous Assassin for Uppy Downey. Very good. And for Infiltrate and Scout. So you've got all your bases covered. The key there is making sure you, like, pick target, kill it, move on, and, like, score your points while you're doing that. I think you can definitely do that. Plus, the Repulsor gives you that, like, jump back in and just in a pinch sort of thing, which I think is really useful too if, say, the Stern Guard get charged or something like that. Dorian, what's going on? Nice to see you. But Phil, yeah, looking forward to seeing you play some games. And then new Eldar book, and then we'll see what happens from there. Moving on, we have Kyle. Said, I had been tossing up between Tzeentch and Slanesh Demons and landed on Tzeentch, since I always play melee armies. The enhancements are cool. The strats are cool. Vect is cool. Strength 8 AP2 ignore cover flamers are cool. Running 4 big birds and multiplying horrors is cool. 1 or 2 things I'm not sold on this list, though. The melee Lord of Change with the Neverblade enhancement is cool, but I'm not sure if it's really needed. An extra 280 points unlocks chariots, more horrors and flamers, and even nurglings. Alternatively, it turns into a demon prince who can also use the enhancement, and then maybe 6 nurglings. Screamers are also still don't set the world on fire. A max squad is unlikely to pop a rhino, has no chance if they armor a contempt. They are good fast scorers, but I don't think I don't like that they went up in points. Puts them in a pretty awkward spot. Yeah, fair enough. Like flamers were probably the main like uppy downy point scorer, like the flamers of Tzeentch, I think were the big ones. If you don't have blue horrors that are infiltrating for you, then definitely need to find a way to put Nurglings in there. So let's take a look at this list. Boardmen. You mean birdmen? Or just bored? Are they just bored of life? Just bored of the chaos. They're bored of the warp, you know? Fate Weaver, changeling. Pink horrors, pink horrors, pink horrors. Yeah, so you don't have the blues in there. You could just use blues for infiltrate and for -1 leadership bubble, which is kind of handy. 6 flamers, 5 flamers, 3 screamers, 3 screamers. I would definitely probably do 3 units of 3 flamers for scoring. And then I would definitely drop one of the Lords of Change. I think you don't need all of those Lords of Change. Like they're great, but like Soul Grinders are very good in the new demon detachments. Like put in some Soul Grinders, put in some Nurglings for some infiltrate, right? Or Beasts of Nurgle, because they're cheap and they're durable and they can press buttons and do actions for you. You know, that sort of thing. Board is the ward. Thanks, Mark. I always believed in you coming in and really adding some spice to the party. Okay, that's my thought process. Really quick there, Kyle. Nothing too crazy, but that's what I would kind of do. I think you're on the right track. Just kind of like flip it around, and maybe like drop one of the big characters and add some more like utility units as well. And then I think you've got to like, you don't really have too much close combat punch, but like the odd Soul Grinder is not a bad idea in demons. I actually like the Soul Grinders; they're quite good. Okay, Tragic Grief, Greg. Good evening, Scary. Hello. Well, technically, good morning. I'm also looking at an Anvil Siege force for an RTT this weekend. Imperial Fist, though. Yellow Templars. Ooh, very cool. Anvil Siege Force is one of those armies that's like low-key has like some really good stuff, and you're like, oh, that's interesting. That has some really cool, interesting things. So 2 biologists, a Gravis Captain, and a Tor Garadon. And a Heavy Intercessor squad, which I love, by the way. I love the new Heavy Intercessors. So cool. 1 big Aggressor brick, 1 big Eradicator brick, 2 Infiltrator squads, a Landroid Crusader, 2 Redemptors, and a Repulsor. Okay, so you're going for chunky. Chunky units. I think the only thing that doesn't sort of like, that I'm like meh on is the Aggressor squad, but I can see why you'd like it. No, sorry, not the Aggressor, the Eradicators. I'm like, I don't really think you need the Eradicators. Like, you could split the Eradicator squad up, and I think Ballistus Dreadnoughts would just be better. Like, drop the Eradicator and one of the Biologists and put in, like, 2 Ballistus Dreadnoughts. And then I think you're just better off. I think that's, like, in general, that's where I would find my points. Matt B says, I run 2 Soul Grinders and Demon Prince in my Tzeentch list. Nice. Yeah, Soul Grinders are great. They're very, very good. And that's it. That's like what I would say. The list itself, you've got like, boom, you're missing scouts. So like, I think like even in this, like if you don't have scouts, like the 2 infiltrators are great, but you only really need 1 infiltrator unit now that the 6-inch deep strike is a thing instead of a 3-inch deep strike. So you can kind of take an infiltrate, like put a scout squad in. That might give you some more points as well to play around with. At least 1 scout squad. Like uppy downy on a scout squad is excellent. Ideally, you'd want 2 scout squads. And I think the aggressors, like the Eradicators are good. I mean, the aggressors are good. But you're running the Ulto Boltstorm gauntlets, which is fine. I personally prefer them with the flamers. And then you've got the Eradicators. That's the only... Eradicators are like so hit and miss. Like they either just kill stuff or they just die. So having something like a Ballistic Dreadnought is just more consistent for like a tournament setting. And if you don't care and you just want to have your Eradicators go around and murder stuff, then be my guest. Just like, go and try and nuke a big knight or something. Do you think the change to Heavy Intercessors and Oath has been lowered the value of the Eradicators? I think Eradicators were already pretty low on my list as a Space Marine player. I prefer to just go punch stuff. Hey! What's going on, Lionel from X Planet Live or 10th Planet Live? Make sure you check out 10th Planet Live, by the way. Does 1 AOS live stream and 1 40K live stream every single week. Has been a huge supporter of the channel for many, many years. Recently ran the TGX Teams event, which happened like this last weekend or 2 weekends ago, which was a awesome team event. And congratulations to the GTA 40K folks that ended up winning. But Lionel's good shit. His store is in Mississauga. He knows his stuff. Thanks, I appreciate it. LVO is gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna go. My goal is to just meet, greet, hang out with people, give out dice, like win some games. Hopefully, not lose too many games. If I get to the top 8, that'd be fantastic. And that'd be fun. Like my soul hungers for it. But I know how it's not like easy to do that at an event of that size. But I know I could do it. It's just like I just need to get through that like quagmire of the random pairings. And then be like, oh, finally I got there, yay! Although I would hate to be in the shadow round. Ugh, I'd be so dead. Do you think splitting Lilith and Witches and Venoms is better than 10 and a Raider? Yes. Always. Helljumper! Hello, Scary. Hello, Helljumper. I'm looking to take this list to an RTT at the beginning of February, with all the new changes to basic Space Marine units as well as nerfs to Gladius. I'm pretty excited. Nerfs to Gladius? What nerfs to Gladius? There's no nerfs to Gladius. Gladius is still the strongest. You talking nerfs to very specifically the Firestorm or whatever it was, or Fire Discipline? Maybe I'll give you that, but Gladius is not nerfed at all. I just want 4 and 2 at LVO, says Dorian. Yeah, that's a very respectable finish at LVO. With all the new changes to basic Space Marine units as well as nerfs to Gladius, I'm pretty excited to try out Anvil Siege with my new Iron Hands list. Amazing! I found Heavy Intercessors already to be quite good. I know, you've been using them forever. As soon as I read that, I was like, oh, Helljumper's gonna love this. Because you've been running the Heavy Intercessor brick with Ironfather Pharaohs forever. And now they just got better, right? Bro, you will win LVO, says Ryan Contento. Why, thank you, Ryan. I appreciate the vibes. I'll take all of the vibes from the universe to win LVO. Let's go. Oh, yeah. I'm pretty excited to try. Yep. The Iron Hands is a great tar pit with a 5++ given by Pharaohs, as well as melee brought to the unit by him as well. Now that they have damaged 2 heavy bolters, they might actually get at shooting with +1 to wound from Oath. Yep. Or from the Shield of the Imperium detachment rule by remaining stationary, which they're very likely to do. I already know the Hell Blasters block with Lieutenant with the Ignore Cover war gear will perform well with Oaths versus vehicles and monsters just do good on their own. But a combo I'm really interested is to give a go is the Captain with 6 Eradicators. The +1 to wound from Oath or Shield of the Imperium, specifically because of being able to shoot back for 1 CP with normal shooting on enemy turn with +1 to wound if I go second, along with a 6++ while on objective with Stoic Defense war gear. Okay, so Eradicators. So here we are with the Eradicators again. I have a love-hate relationship with Eradicators. I own a bunch of them in my Black Templars, and I always find that every time I use them, I'm like, eh. But if you're gonna, there's just so many points. Gravis Captain, Ironfather, Lieutenant. Heavy Intercessor brick. Oh, I love that brick. Intercessor Squad. Good. Eradicator Squad, 200 points. Oh, it's so pricey. Lancer, Hellblaster, Infiltrator, Redemptor, Scouts. Okay, so you have Scouts, check. Redemptors, check. I like Redemptors. Infiltrators, check. So Infiltrator, Scouts, good. So now you kind of build around it. I think having a couple of Lancers and Redemptor Dreadnoughts, because Redemptors can also act as like a counterpunch, right? Because they can come in and charge or block off charges and stuff. Very good, I like that. And then you've got your damage dealers. Hellblaster Squad, Eradicator Squad, and then your Heavy Intercessor Squad with Intercessor Squads also doing a lot of damage but sticking objectives and being good OC. I like the list composition. So in this list, I do think the Eradicators make sense because there's so much other stuff that sort of already fills all the gaps that you need. Infiltrate Scout, Uppy Downy, right? Objective control, as well as saturation of targets where it comes to Lancers and Redemptor Dreadnoughts, and having a big brick of solid units like the Heavy Intercessors that can take a punch, which then detracts from the other units that can do stuff as well. Let me know how it goes. I think you're onto something here. I do like it as well. I believe in a Skari LVO win, says Weed Ghost. Thank you. I appreciate that. I know I can do it. I know it's in me, you know? I could go the whole way. But to win a large event, a little bit of magic has to happen, and I know that the magic is in the air. So I know I could. I can picture myself winning LVO. Like I can. In my mind's eye, I can see myself doing the whole 10 rounds and winning. I'm Legendary Mike. Afternoon, Skari. I've been wanting to start an Ynnari list for a while now. After Reaper's Wager released, I have to do it now. So the list is themed after Lilith's book. So it's thematic, but I want it competitive enough to hold my own. Suggestions? Thank you in advance. Absolutely. Let's take a look at it. Did you get your free drink ticket? Huh? What free drink ticket? We've got Vizark, Incarn, Troopmaster, Ivrain. Ivrain cannot go into... Ivrain can't be in our detachment. I don't think. Unless she's an Ekanthrite. I don't think she is, though. Is she an Ekanthrite? Now you've got me checking this. Yeah, I don't think one of the allies you're allowed to take. Yeah, you can't take her. You're not allowed to take her. So that's sadly Ivrain. Yeah, she can't, like, you can't really take Ynnari. You can take like Harlequins and Drukhari, but you can't take Ynnari. Like you can do it in like with Eldar, right? And then do an Ynnari army with Eldar, and then Lilith can kind of go with, at least, you know, that's like how it works right now. So, Guardian Defenders, Wave Serpent. Oh, is this? Oh, it is an Eldari battle host. Okay, never mind. Totally can do this. I'm thinking I thought you were doing a Drukhari detachment. Just shows you that I've been reading a lot of lists this morning. FLG's giving a friend ticket out for Friday night. You just have to go to the FLG store. That's fine. I don't drink, so it's all good. I'll drink water. I'll enjoy water and pop. Yeah. So, Wave Serpent, Falcon, Big Troop. I would take 11. I don't know, 10. Like, don't take 10, take 11. I think you paid for 11. You paid for 11, but you've only put 10 here. I think it's 165 for 11. I'm pretty sure. So I don't know why there's only 10 here. Then we have a troop of 5. Yeah. I would make that a unit of Swooping Hawks or something. Voidweaver. I like them. Lilith, Mandrake, Succubus, Venom. Succubus is sadly pointless. Yeah, but I guess more. Yeah, okay. You're doing it thematically. But that's the thing is, like, that's 45 points plus, 75 points. That gives you like a whole unit of Warp Spiders. Like, that's just so much better if you're trying to do okay at a competitive event. Yeah, 165 for 11, you get 4 fusions, 4 neuros. Yeah, so it's 165 for 11, and then you get a full complement of weapons. I fundamentally have a problem with Ynnari listed include Lilith. Lilith hung out with the Ynnari. That's the whole point. Like, she literally hung out with the Ynnari to go hunting for stuff and things. So that's totally within the lore. Witches, Venom, Succubus. So you split the witches with all the... Now, if you are going to do Ynnari, take some Kabalites. Just a few, just to sticky objectives. Although you did take Guardians, is that right? But not the regular Guardians. These are Defenders. So I can see what you're going for. I feel like there's a lot of points there. Like, I feel like there's points left on the table that you could use more effectively. And that's just it. Like, the Incarn is really cool. The Vizark and Ivrain with the big troop is really good. Drop the Troop Master, but yes, I agree for lore. Like, Wraithy should be there. So if I went to an RTT with this list, I would. It would be fun. But I wouldn't expect to do, like, win 3 games. I'd go, like, 2-1 or 1-2, right? Especially if it's a competitive event. But I'd have fun with it because it would be lore. I'd be, like, building the story in my head, right? Right? Cabalites and a Venom. Yes, Cabalites and a Venom are great. Just sticking objectives is just so good. And that's what I would definitely recommend. Okay, moving on. Yanlo Chris Washington says, all the Dark Lances, get them. Sky Splinter Assault. I still think Sky is the best. You know, I might get proven wrong, but I still think Sky, just ignoring cover is just so powerful. I don't know why. I just, every time I get out, and I'm like, I'm shooting at stuff, and I go like, if you didn't have cover, I would have killed you right now. And that's the only thing that's holding me on. That and Wraith-like Retreat. Wraith-like Retreat is just so good. So good. Beastmaster, Archon, Lilith. Cool. Cabs, 10. Cabs, 10. 10 Witches. Raider, 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 Venom. I would flip that. Have 3 Venoms, 1 Raider. I would definitely flip that. 3 Venoms, 1 Raider. Because you need to split all of this stuff. Split it all up into lots of 5 strong units. If you want to make a strong Drukhari list, just split them all into 5s. MSU the hell out of that. 2 Chronos, 5 Incubi, 5 Mandrakes, Ravager, Ravager, Razorwing, Jetfighter, Razorwing, Jetfighter. Okay. I have done it before. Not as good as the Void Raven Bomber, but not bad. Now, the Razorwing Jetfighter is not consistent, but it's decently good at killing transports. That's what I have found. Like finishing transports off, or at least softening up transports so that then the Scourge can like haywire them to death. And then everything else can like go and murder them. Because you're spending Ravager, Ravager, Razorwing, Razorwing, like that's the only thing that I'm like, okay, you're spending 280 points for those 4 vehicles. I would go for one or the other. Or I would split, like, that's my thought process. Like, Ravagers, sadly, just don't do it for me. Like, I have a love-hate relationship with Ravagers. They just, as soon as they pop out, they shoot and then they die. And it just makes me so sad. At least with a Razorwing Jetfighter, they can come in, I can rapid ingress, I can threaten more things on the board than a Ravager can, and they're going to die just as fast as a Ravager, but they have stealth, so they might not. 4-up invul save for the Night Shield. They might not die. You never know, right? And then 2 units of Scourge. So the Scourge are great. I think you can play with the Razorwing Jetfighters. However, like you could turn these into Talos, and then you'd have 20 points left over. And then you have 220 plus 20 is 240. So you could turn both Ravagers into a Void Raven Bomber, right? That sort of thing. I would try and fit in a 2nd unit of Mandrakes if possible. And then I would make sure that you can split all of these units, these Cabalites and Witches, into 5s, just to give you more trash to play the game with. Food for thought. That's kind of like how I... Lance's hard leave. Yeah. Lances are hit or miss. So, good morning, resisting Witchface. What's going on? Good morning, good morning. Okay, Dorian, let's take a look at your list here. You're looking at, this is the Vanguard Tyranids, Death Leaper, Neuro, Tyrant, and Winged Prime. Love the Winged Prime, one of the best monsters in the Tyranid book. 10 Gargs, 10 Gargs, and 10 Hormigons. Excellent choice of core. Biovores, Lictor, Neuro, 3 units of 3 Raveners. We talked about this. Love it. Small, cheap units to go. Very threatening, but also cheap enough to go do actions and stuff like that. 6 Warriors of Bioweapons. Oh, with the Prime. So good. So good. That unit just nukes things. 3 Leapers, 2 Exos, 1 Maleceptor, and a Tyrannifex. I love this list. I've seen you develop this list over the last couple of months, and this is like, I love this list going into LVO. I think it's got a little bit of everything. You got enough units that you can do actions, you can play the missions, but you also have good killing power. You also have debuffs, you have buffs, and you've got uppy down. Like, there's so many things that this list does. You play with Battle Shock. Like, it's just so good. I really, really love this list. I think the only thing that is missing, and I don't know if you could physically fit it, right? I don't believe, there's a way to fit it without changing the whole dynamic of the list, is a unit of 20 Neurogaunts, right? just to stop people from being able to cycle through Reaper, or Cull the Horde, sorry, and then forcing them to hold that card in their hand, which is always a feel to be like, if you have 10 Terminators or a big brick of like 20 dudes, you'd be like, no, you have to hold on to that card. I got a unit you have to kill for that. And they're like, ugh. I wish I could do that with my Dark Eldar. I wish I could. It would be so fun. Okay. But other than that, I love it, Dorian. Thank you for sharing the list. Resting Witch Face. So, great question for submitting a list. So, the list crunch is available for Patreons. Scourge, Trueborn, and Incubi level Patreons can submit an army list every single week, and then I compile them all into this format, and I give you my thoughts. Next week, I'll be at LVO, so there will not be a show next week, but the week after, we will be returning with the weekly show, and I'll be doing another list crunch segment. Rogue Nation. I hope this is better list compared to the one I submitted before the holidays, but don't go easy on it. It helps me learn how to build better lists. Also thinking about combat knives on the scouts instead of bolters. Thoughts? Thank you very much, Resting Witchface. Appreciate it. Yeah, LVO is going to be a good time. So we've got Dark Angels, Lion's Blade, Azrael, Librarian, and a Ravenwing Command Squad. Okay, good combination of characters. I'm glad you're not going too many points on characters. That I like. Check. Then we have 2 Ballistus Dreadnoughts. Check. I think they are very, very good. Deathwing Terminator Squad, 10 strong. Awesome. Hellblaster Squad, 10 strong. I'm assuming you're putting them with Azrael. Sure. Like, they can do damage. I think Azrael is actually really good sitting in the back, giving you a CP every turn. He's very good for that. Yeah. An Outrider squad of 3. I think having an Intercessor squad. 2 Intercessor squads are better here. I know you want to use them for the thing or whatever, but honestly, you already have the Ravenwing Black Knights. Just use Intercessors are phenomenal with their new rules, and they sticky objectives, and their battle line. Like, having a unit with battle line is important. You already have a big Ravenwing Black Knight squad that you can put the command squad in, and then you have at least 1 scout squad, 2 scout squads, big Brig of Sternguard veterans. Big thing about this is there's no way to transport them. So you need, like, I would give them either like, you need to transport them somehow. If they just walk around, they're just gonna get absolutely murdered. So a drop pod, maybe, if they can go in a drop pod. I think they can. Which means you need a couple of points. So those Outriders go into like an Inter squad and a drop pod. That's kind of like where my thought process is like, you've got the Hellblasters with Azrael. You got the Librarian that goes, does he go with the Stern Guard to give him like sustained? Sure, maybe he goes to them to give him sustained. And then you've got like, the other thing that's missing here is an Infiltrator squad. I love Infiltrators. If you're trying to make a competitive list, Infiltrators just give you so much breathing room to screen out the board. It's just a great unit to consider when making a list. Things I like, you're into the theme of the detachment with the Raven Command Squad and the Black Knights. Awesome. You're running the Ballistus Dreadnoughts, which is just good. You're running the big Deathwing Terminator Squad, which I think you could just take a Librarian and Terminator armor and put that Librarian and Terminator armor with the Deathwing Squad. I think you can do that, which then would be really cool, which means you could take the Outriders out, put an Intercessor squad in for sticky objectives and better OC, and then try and fit in, like, I don't know, an Infiltrator squad somewhere. Yeah, so. Bucephalus says, "Hi, I'm new. What is this? Just 40K chat?" Yeah, we're talking. This is the weekly 40K show. It's a show I do every Friday for patrons, but every once in a while, I do it open the vaults, and I invite everybody to come hang out with me, and we do a Q&A, and then I go through army lists that have been submitted by the patrons, and I talk about army list building, and it's a great little chat that we have once a week, which is really fun. But 35 plus years 40K fan, that's fantastic. I've been playing for almost 30 years. Yeah, I'm an old timer as well, but I've been playing for almost 30 years with no breaks. Okay. By the way, if you haven't hit that like button, make sure you do. Hit the like button, leave a comment on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and consider supporting me on Patreon. It's a trap. Yeah, 40K. It's a trap. But I hope that helps with your list, and I'm looking forward to more stuff. Okay. Bamboon Brains says, hey, Scary, first time doing a list review. Nice. Well, let's just skip right over it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm taking this list to LVO. So it's very much catered to that mission pool. Yes, they're very specific missions, right? The idea is to sticky the natural expansion objective with the Infiltrate Harlequins. While the Infiltrate Harlequins are pre-staged to defend both that objective and pose a threat in the center one. Ultimately, playing much slower, a bit cagier than Sky Splinter. Okay, makes sense. I like that idea. For consideration, Dark Angel, Samael with Outriders does nasty work into units like Chosen and Possessed. Scary, scary unit. Oh, cool. I'd have to read like what his leader ability is. I don't play anymore. If I did, it would be 2nd edition, but I make conversions a lot. Currently working on Taurelian army. Neat. That's awesome. So you're like a hobbyist collector? Nice. Well, if you played in 2nd, you played a lot. You remember Battlefleet Gothic. Been working on some Battlefleet Gothic ships and space stations and stuff. I had made these converted ships with Helions. See, look, that's a Helion, like the bottom of a Helion board or the top of a Helion board, with a bit of a jet bike like that, and then I put the little Phantasm grenade launchers as like little jet thrusters. That's like a little escort transport ship for like missions and stuff. Converting stuff is fun. Okay, so let's take a look at your list. Bamboon Brains. Archon with Webway Walker. Court, Cabalites. Archon with Arc Raider. 10 Cabalites with the Venom. Of course, you split them. Urien, 5 Rax. Kronos, 5 Mandrakes, 5 Mandrakes. 2 Talos. Heat Lance. Yeah, we talked about that in the questions. 5 Scourge and a Solitaire. 1 Troop, Master, and Troop. And then 1 Troop. Oh, so double Troop. So I don't like the 2nd Troop. I think the 2nd troop, you're spending like 200 points. Like I would switch it out for like 2 Void Weavers personally, or like Grotesques. You know what I mean? Like 2 units of Grotesques or something. I think that would probably be better. Be better in general. Or Rax, right? Just I feel like the 2nd troop, like you're already so CP hungry. You're gonna have the court that you're gonna dump CP in. You have the Talus you're gonna dump CP in. You're gonna dump CP into the big troop master unit. And or a beast pack. You're missing a beast pack. Like a beast pack is so important. You know, if you haven't sourced a beast pack, you haven't used a beast pack, like I highly, highly, highly recommend a beast pack. Just because they're so good. I know there's mixed feelings about the Solitaire. I've been trying to use him to hold the home with Lone Up until round 4 or 5, then blitz up the board for scoring. Ideally, by that point, there's a weak enough objective that you can reach, kill, steal with his blitz. Yeah, so I was keeping, like, in my recent testing for LVO, I was keeping my home objective relatively safe with something like that, like a Lone Up or just sticking it and moving on. And what I found is I lost my home objective a lot. And in some missions, it doesn't matter, but in a lot of missions that we're playing, like, you actually get points for your home. So I started just putting 5 racks on my home objective and just being like, look, I've got 5 racks on my home objective. And in order to take it away, I'm going to sticky it. I put 5 racks on it. You have to put 11 OC on this in order to take it away from me or kill a bunch of racks. And that has helped me hold my home objective. So just some food for thought there. I would be terrified to play in this current meta without having a beast pack. A beast pack is just so good for competitive play. I do like the infiltrate troop is a risky proposition, I find, because if your opponent can move out and touch them, like, they're just gonna die. And even a fight on death, like, it doesn't really justify them just dying because you put them up the board. So I think you could save on the infiltrate, but the stealth might be pretty cool. I don't know. There's like, I love the core of the list. The court, the Arc Raider sticky objective, and put 5 on your home objective. Like, that's what I would do, is I'd put 5 cabs on the home objective to sticky it, and then keep them there. And then have the Arc Raider move up to try and sticky the expansion. Keep the Archon with the Court and Deep Strike for a rapid ingress. 1 unit of troops on the board with infiltrate, sure. But the 2nd unit I'd turn into a beast pack. And then a beast pack plus something. Maybe racks. Like 5 more racks or something. I don't know. That's just something that I'm thinking about there as well, or like a Void Weaver or something like that. Simon says, problem I have with beast packs is I'm too afraid I got moved to Legends, invested time and money to get one. Yeah, that is a valid choice. At the same time, the meta moves so quickly, it could be something that happens 2 months from now. It could be something that happens 8 months from now, right? So it's like, if you just get it done and put it in, like, make it happen, you use it while it's available, and if it's not, it goes in a box, goes on a shelf. You know, it is what it is. At the end of the day, that's the game that we play, is Warhammer. It's like a cyclical thing. I've got tons of Razorwing Flocks and Chimera that I can't use because the beast pack is limited to a certain number of models, right? And then I've got 2 Reapers that I can't use because they're legends. You know, like, it happens. I've got tons of Space Marine stuff I can't use anymore because they're legends, and you just slowly kind of cycle through them over time. Red Rum says, who's winning the wager, Scary? Well, right now it's the Drukhari are winning the wager because I'm in the house. Boom, boom, boom. Problem I have is, at the moment you get your head wrapped around New Edition, they make New Edition. Yeah, well, we're playing the DLC. The DLC constant patch update 40k is what we're doing. Al Duke says, my racks always die in sad dumb ways, or don't die when they should. It's a unit I struggle a little with how to utilize. Keep them on objective, use them as a screen. Yeah, that's how I use them. Every once in a while, I'll get their sniper out there to try and, like, pop a target or kill a unit with the Ossifactor or something. Once in a while. Moving on, we have Archon Morsan's unit. Greetings, Archon. Greetings, Morsan. I just played a 1,000-point game with this list, and I'm playing an escalation campaign. My question is, what do you add for 250 points? So you're playing Reapers, Archon with Arc Raider, Urian, Kablites, Venom, Kronos, Mandrakes, Talos, Void Weaver, Clowns, Troop Master. Okay, so you got 250 points. In this list, you already have Mandrakes, you already have Kablites, Scourge unit, so it's 130, and it gives you 120 and a Beast Pack. That's what I would do. Scourge and a Beast Pack. 250 points. Done. Moving on. No, seriously, I would. That's seriously what I would do. The Beast Pack is incredible, and Scourge shooty, especially at small point levels. It's like, it's so hard for your opponent to deal with. Want to add to 250 points a Void Raven Bomber, obviously. Thanks, Nurgle Matthew. I'm glad you're enjoying the. You'll play 40k around here, or nah? Yeah, we play 40k around here, Nurgle Matthew. Of course we do. Danny Cod. Hi, Scary. I'm working on another list with more Harlequins, but at this moment, I'm going to get the next GT with something like this. The idea is using the second brick to react opponents' overwhelming one on my flanks, or drop in the zone. Drazar, Lilith, Solitaire, Urian, Archon, Archon. 10 cabs, 10 cabs, double court, 5 Incubi, 5/5 Mandrakes, 5/5 Scourge, 1 Kronos, 2/2 Talos, Raider Venom. Yeah, the fact that you only have the Solitaire as Harlequins, good. I like the double court is interesting. I love the 1 court. You better get, the whole point of this list is, can you get the most out of your courts? That's literally how this list is going to play. The fact that you don't have a Beast Pack makes me very sad, because Beast Packs, I'm telling you folks, Beast Packs, like, when you go up to a competitive event, if you're a Dark Eldar player that does not have a Beast Pack, and you are playing against someone who knows what they're doing, they will go, do you have a Beast Pack? And you say no, and they will, like, sigh of relief. Beast Packs will win you games by themselves. So I just think that they're very useful to have. Can you tell? I'm a little biased towards having a Beast Pack in your list. But other than that, I like the composition of the list. If you wanted to do double court, this is kind of how I would do it. Most certainly. 1 on foot right off the bat with Scout, the other one deep striking in, that sort of thing. Yeah. Nurgle is okay. I like the old sculpts. Those Poxwalkers are not my thing. Yeah, they've changed over time. I would love a Beast Pack, but they're so hard to get a hold of. Yeah, you can print or convert, right? Print or convert or source. Either find one secondhand, print something that's similar, or convert one. It's completely fine. You can kit bash a court like 2 seconds. Like a court or a Beast Pack. Can kit bash it. Just find pieces and build it. Make it out of green stuff. Whatever it is. That's right. Just kit bash all the pieces together. changed their new edition. That was wrong with the good old standard Plague Bearers. Anyhow, well, you can still use Plague Bearers. You just ally them in. Just take a unit of Plague Bearers in your Death Guard. And then you get sticky objectives. So then you can use the new detachment with like stealth and stuff, and then sticky all your things as well. Maybe remove Lilith and Kronos. Oh, never remove Kronos. Kronos are so important. Especially since they FAQ'd the fact that you can switch the way that you get pain tokens back. You can use the pain tokens right away. Kronos are fantastic. Bucephalus. Now they've adapted over the years. Sure, like some of the new sculpts are gorgeous. Like the kits are amazing. Plague Bearers are great. They are great, and they sticky objectives, and they're tough to kill. Add a Kronos. Yes, add a Kronos. Are you doing Sky for LVO? Says Red Rum. Oh, wouldn't you like to know? I'm most likely doing Sky. Every time I play and don't take Sky, I wish I had Ignore Cover. Like every single time. Then we have the Artful Dodger. Says, hi, Scary. Hello, Artful Dodger. Happy New Year. Trying this list of Ynnari. Quick question on wager for Scourge Solitaires. What do you normally pick? So is it Ynnari or Reaper's Wager? As for wager, it depends. If I take Talos, I take Dark Lances. If I take things that aren't... If I take Haywire on other stuff, like on the Jet Bikes or the Void Weavers, then I take Dark Lances, because I need that long range punch, especially against monsters and stuff like that. I remember you saying that in your WCW review, says Red Drum. Yeah, like Sky is just like they're like, I don't get me wrong, Red Drum. I know Sky has bad matchups. I just think that all detachments have bad matchups, right? Like every detachment has a bad matchup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the thing I have the most practice with, and for Sky, I have hundreds of games with Sky, like hundreds. So I'm just going to go with Sky. And it plays to my style so perfectly that I just love the style of it as well. Hey, Brandon, what's going on? Nice to see you. Okay, our Artful Dodger, Ynnari, so Vizark, Ivrain, Farseer, Cabs, Mandrake, Rangers, Scourge. So when you're doing Ynnari Scourge, 1 Dark Lance, 3 Haywires. That is probably the most efficient way to do all your Ynnari Scourge. That's just like the way to run them. You have 1 Dark Lance because you get a reroll hit and wound, which is super efficient with a Dark Lance, and then 3 Haywires. That's what I would run. Striking Scorpion, a troop. Make it an 11 strong troop. You save 15 points, and you get all of the weapons that you need. The more you know. You save 15 points. 3 Fire Prisms, 2 Venoms. Interesting. I haven't seen Fire Prisms in a while. I feel like you don't need 3 Fire Prisms. I think you can get away with 2 Fire Prisms if you really want some long-range guns. And then spend 170 plus 15 points you save for the troop. So 185 points. And then put in a unit of Warp Spiders and or 2 units of Swooping Hawks. Or something like more trash to do mission stuff with. And that's where my thought process goes. That's what I would recommend. Yeah. Or give like the Farseer an enhancement of some sort as well. Right? Like Reader of Runes, or I don't know, the Phoenix Gem or something. Like just something silly. But I hope that gives you some food for thought, Artful Dodger. And that answers your question about Scourge. Okay, Jesse. Hey, Scary. Hello, Jesse. This is my first 40k list since 8th edition. Oh, you've taken a bit of a break then. I spoke a little bit about it after our Blood Bowl game at the Forge. Damn those Snotlings! Snotlings are the best, Jesse. They die so fast, though. But they do make all the frenzy players, like, run around when they don't get killed. It's like, it's so funny. I do have enough models to make drastic changes to the list if needed. Happy New Year! Happy New Year to you, Jesse. Looking forward to playing in the next season. Maybe we can fisticuffs again, my friend. Okay, so you're doing Biosantic Brood Surge. Awesome. So very aggressive Genes to the Cult. 2 Abominants. They're amazing. They're amazing. They just by themselves. They're just amazing by themselves. They're so good. 2 Biophagus. 2 Kellamorph and a Patriarch. I think you drop a Kellamorph and a Biophagus, you should have at least 1 or 2 of the bomb dudes, the saboteurs. Those guys are incredible. They're very, very good. I would recommend them every single time. And a Kellamorph. No, not Kellamorph. A Clamavus. Take a Clamavus, that 12-inch Deep Strike Deny Bubble. Amazing. Very, very good to keep your objective alive and keep your opponent in front of you, which is what you need. Troy Brand, Happy New Year, my friend. Oh, man. Hey, Troy. ¿Cómo estás, amigo? Nice to hear from you. LOL Fire Prism. As soon as I realized they'd always get to shoot me no matter where I hit, I started rushing Eldar, and they've been an easy matchup since. Just rush them. Just rush them. They can't kill all of us all at once. You only need one Terminator to kill all the Eldar. That's about right. Acolyte hybrids, so you're using a 10 strong, truck, 10 aberrants, Ridge Runner with Stubber, Spotter, Mining Laser, Stubber, Spotter, Mining Laser, 10 Pure Strains, 5 Pure... So, 10 Pure Strains with a Patriarch, good. 2 Pure Strains without Patriarchs, great. Awesome. Ridge Runner, if you're doing... So, 1 with a Spotter and a Mining Laser, sure, but make it a 2 strong unit. So, a 2 with Mining Lasers and Spotters, great. The Ridge Runner, 1 of them, single Ridge Runner, always put an Augur on it and the Mortar, because he sits behind line of sight, and all his job is to make a unit have ignore cover on it and give +1 AP from out of line of sight. That's all his job is, to hit something and make it have not the benefit of cover and a +1 AP on it or whatever, right? And then you can double down with the Ridge Runners. Very, very good. If you want to take a Jackal Alphas, you can. The Jackal then gives you reroll 1s to hit, so like Genes to the Cult works best when you combo a whole bunch of things onto like something you need to kill. You put like +1 AP, reroll 1s to hit, ignore cover on it, right? Battle Shock from like a Kellamorph, and then shoot it with a bunch of stuff, and like they just don't get any buffs. And it's like, or Battle Shock with the Clamavus or whatever, and then all of a sudden they don't get like Armor Contempt, or they can't use defensive strats and things like that. Very, very useful. As for the Aberrants, you don't need 10 mans, maybe 1 10-man. But I would definitely do multiple 5s. Because you have the Abominants, I would do 2 5s and 2 Abominants in each one. I think that's all you need, because then you can use all those points elsewhere. One of the things that you don't have in this list that are very, very good are hybrid metamorphs. A big unit of 10 hybrid metamorphs with in a truck is excellent. They have Scout, and they're very good. They have a surge move, and if you put a banner in them, they get like a better Feel No Pain, like a 4 Feel No Pain or something, which makes them like incredibly hard to take down, like very, very hard to kill. As for the Acolytes, I would definitely take some Neophytes. So a unit of 10 Neophytes, so you can sticky objectives, and then I would take the Auto Pistols so that you can like get extra CP, but I'd split them all into 5s. Acolytes were great when they're in 5-man units. And then 1 big 20-strong brick of Neophytes, which then you can use to like, just like shoot and like rapid fire and deep strike. So you're on the right track. I think that you've spent a little bit too many points on like some bigger units, which is great. But I think with Genes to the Cult, you want to try and mix and match. Now, Jesse, if you're in the Discord, which you are, make sure you reach out to Dustin Henshaw. He's like the Genes to the Cult player. So reach out to him. I'm sure he would love to like give you some tips and tricks on how to build a good, effective Genes to the Cult list, because he loves helping people out, and he's the best Genes to the Cult player I know. And with that, folks, we have finished the list crunch. Oh my goodness gracious. That's it, list crunch. It was, thank goodness I started early, because it literally took an extra hour to get through all of these. After 2 weeks off, folks just really wanted, all of the denizens really wanted their lists to be seen and heard. That mortar swap out for a stock smoke launcher is so good. Oh yeah, it's so good. Tough choice too. Smoke or no cover for you. Yeah, no cover. No cover is just so much better. Pound that like button, everybody. Make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Huge shout out to the channel Patreons. The Denizen community is what makes this channel tick. Without them, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. I'm every day humbled by their ongoing support. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me today. I really, really appreciate it. I will be at the Red Dragon GT this weekend. I will be at LVO next weekend, and I will be at the Manchester GT as I start my quest to trying to get the most ITC points in the world for next year. So with that, wish me luck on this journey. I will. That is my goal. I hope that you all learn some stuff from my journey, and I hope to be able to, just impart some of what I've learned to all of you out there who enjoy this lovely hobby of ours. And other than that, make sure you come say hi if you see me at an event. I'm going to have dice for folks and stuff like that. Huge shout out to the Red Dragon, who's sponsoring me, and the Art of War. We're doing this crazy year-long journey, and I'm really, really excited about it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in chat and for humoring me. I'm going to be driving in about an hour. I'm heading out. I've got coaching calls and stuff too and whatnot today, which is super exciting. So I like to multitask while I get stuff done. You have all been amazing. I've been Skari, your grateful host. Signing off until next time, Skari out. The Dark Kin.